Trinidad and Tobago, so flawed it may be, there are just a few things that might make me contemplate leaving this place. And right now, all of those things involve the heat. Is it just me, or is Trinidad located right next to the sun? I know we often say that God is a Trini, but I'm starting to believe that Satan is a Trini, and he decided to make this place feel more like home. So I'm not going to say that I'm going to be obnoxiously drinking my iced coffee during this entire video, but welcome to Trinidad is Not a Real Place, which is a series which I do not often as I should, which just highlights some of the unusual, strange, weird, not good things that happen in this country sometimes. This is the second installation, episode 1002. We started at 1001 because we couldn't start at 1 because that will assume that there was absolutely nothing strange happening for the past how much years that we've been in existence, and that's not true. So this is the second installation and we have a lot to cover. So we cover the topics and then we give social commentary, and then you can comment down below what you think or what your opinions are or anything that I missed that you think should be worthy of mentioning. So let's get started. Rowley and he guntas. Recently, audio recording of I'm gonna say young lady, but she's not that young, a lady by the name of Nalini. We all know her last name, but yeah, I don't have court clothes, I only have scrubs. So this lady called the cable service provider stating that the show that she was watching on ZTV, the Indian show she was watching, was cut off by Dr. Keith Rowley. I don't know what broadcast it was, but I'm gonna assume it was something, you know, parliamental or an address or something. I don't have a TV, so I'm not gonna know. So anyway, so when she was expressing her disapproval, she used a lot of derogatory words, mostly the N-word, and she's not an N-word, so she's not supposed to use it. Basically, in summary, I'm not gonna play the audio now because that's gonna take way too much time to edit, and it's not necessary. I'm sure everybody heard it because it was circulating all over WhatsApp and all over Facebook, probably Instagram too, but it's weird to go on Instagram for stuff like that when it have nice people on Instagram to watch. But yeah, so this is just my thoughts on it. Basically, I don't know how in 2019 you can let someone's opinion of you affect you that much to the point of verbal or physical retaliation. I'll explain. In terms of the African diaspora, which currently exists in the United States of America, most especially, but also in like South America, there has been a lot of talks about being proud about being black, right? It's a fad now. Like there's even blackfishing, as in white people who want to look black, so they take measures to look more black. Yeah, that's a thing now. So like being black is a trend. It's a fad now. It's like a thing. So considering that there's this wave of positivity and which transfers to us over the fact that we have social media and the fact that we are quite Americanized. Sorry to say, but it's true. Yeah, I don't think that there's anything anybody can say about my race that make me feel bad, like ever. And then you might read the Bible, and the Bible describes Jesus with hair like wool and skin like bronze. So hair like wool and skin like bronze. So like Jesus probably looked like me. So I don't feel bad when people are racist towards me, right? But I explained in the video that I did about racism in the Caribbean when I covered Spice's Black Hypocrisy music video, which I will link the video that I did down below, right? That racism is different even towards you based on your color. So within racism there is colorism, and I tend to not fit the group of people who are attacked by colorists, you know. So racism, I understand, will be different for other people, and I understand it's a sore topic and it can hurt you very deeply. Considering the fact that I do occupy a lot of spheres which are predominantly Indo-Trinidadians, I have an opinion on this, right? I do live in Central Trinidad. I did attend St. Augustine Girls High School. I did medicine at UWI, and I'm currently a doctor, which mostly Indo-Trinidadians, right? Nobody ain't ashamed to say, right? It's just a fact. So yeah, I have experienced racism. Do I have a problem with it? No. I love racism. I shouldn't say that because you all might take that snippet and turn it into something else. I'll explain. I don't mind racism because I like when people are overtly racist, because I know how to move around you. Because just me being a positive force in everybody's life, Yeah. What I do is I tend to root for everybody. You can literally be my competition. I want you to win because I understand that winning is great. That's why I don't do competitions, because I want to take myself out of that, right? Because people value winning more than I might value winning, right? So I want you to win. I want you to do well. I will go out of my way for you as best as I could. If I know that you are that type of person, I just won't do it, and that's going to save me a lot of time and effort. So thank you very much. What I don't like are the closet racists. So you're friends with them, you're talking to them, you're working with them, you're working for them, or you're liming with them, and behind closed doors they have all kind of things to say about you and your people. That is what I have a problem with, and that is the scary type of people, right? So like whoever around me currently want to come out as a racist, I invite you to. I would love if you do so. I would love if you do so soon. There are just a few things that I think we need to understand about racism, and especially in the context of, is it bias? Bias is different. Bias is, you have your preconceived notions of some people, and let's say it's with your people, right? You just think that your people are better. Like if you're African, you just think that African people are the image of God, and you think that we are excellent and we are good and we're the smartest race and we're the most beautiful race. That's perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine. There's absolutely no part of that is racism. You might think, oh, I only want to have children with somebody who's also black because I want full black children. I want to carry my lineage. That is not racism. That is just a bias. You just think that your people are great, right? So I understand little biases, and the fact that you tend to stick with your kin, tend to identify with them, you tend to be on the same social level as them most of the time. So it's just easier for your brain to digest. So that's fine. That's perfectly fine. See the racism? That is a problem. Then it comes to, why is it that this audio tape was actually released? Isn't it supposed to be a private call? She's calling the service provider. Who actually leaked this? Was it Karen? Karen, boy, why are you moving so Karen? Because the woman said her name, she said her phone number, and she said her location, where she lived, exactly where she lived, down to the number of the house. That's not cool, because that opens a door for victimization. So that whole, you creating propaganda, because we all know that racism exists. We all understand racism exists, and I'm trying to say it's not a problem. Let them be like that. Let them just miss out on opportunities. Let them just miss out being your friend, or being your co-worker, being your colleague, or getting assistance from you just because they are like that. That's perfectly fine. Let it happen. That's them. That is their own karma. That itself. Imagine you cutting off 50% of this population in the country because of who their ancestors were. That's dumb, man. That let them deal with that absence. That's perfectly fine. Never make that situation drive you into being hurtful or being harmful to anybody at all. Alright, so I was saying about propaganda, right? Sounds like basically the same political propaganda that we are accustomed to, with them treating us in Trinidad and Tobago like a dichotomy, like you're either UNC or you're PNM. You're UNC because you're Indian, and you're PNM because you're Negro. This is something that's been going on for a very long time, which is why whenever somebody says I had PNM, my mother was PNM, my grandmother was PNM, my great grandmother was PNM, my great grandfather was Eric Williams, I'm like, okay, well, you probably might be doing that based on race, because when you think about it, you can't belong to a political party or know that you're going to vote for a political party until you hear about their policies. It doesn't make no sense at all, right? So yeah, that nonsense just keeps coming back up. And then there were the people who swore to take retaliation against this woman, the woman who is pretty much like everybody else who is also racist. It's just that she is the figure right now that they choose, and the butthole bubbly and thing with the woman, Lord have mercy. She's the figure, she's the current figure of racism. So people who were calling her consistently, giving her death threats, and I heard that somebody egged her house. I don't know how true that one is. All of that stuff just not necessary. Why would you let somebody drive you to that point? And cussing the wrong person, the person of the same name, who's the wrong person on Facebook, and this person is a very hardworking nurse in the hospital, and this harassing she life, that's not nice. So in summary, what I want to say is that we just need to do better in terms of racism in this country. Is it ever going to go away? No, because we are very unalike people, and I don't like when people say, oh, we're the same. We are not the same. Even down to every single cell in our body, what diseases we are predisposed to. You can literally have a skeleton there, and you can identify what what race his skeleton is. We are obviously intrinsically very different, and that's totally fine. We can move on. So I have a conspiracy theory, right? You see how apparently the Trinidad and Tobago police decided to go into Buju Banton's room when he's coming to perform for us out of the goodness and graciousness of his heart, because he surely don't need the offers, he surely don't need the money, so he obviously care about Trinidad and Tobago. Anyway, so the police came into his room and basically were trying to raid him, looking for illicit substances, quite obviously. Yeah, I think it was a whole thing orchestrated by Gary Griffith, right? Because I think that he is so focused on having cool points that he wanted that to happen, and then he would say, oh no, we would never allow something like that to happen, and he'll be able to speak with him personally and get the wonderful, beautiful Instagram picture we have in front of us. But that is just a conspiracy theory. That's probably not true, but I think it's true. It may be true. Okay, back to past me talking about stuff. About 2 weeks ago, a teenager by the name of Akil Phillips was killed in his community of Lavantil, and that is a lot to grasp in the first place. At the age 16, you haven't even started living your life, far less to contemplate dying. Like you haven't reached your full potential or anywhere close to it. You haven't. Your purpose on earth, you feel like it's not done, and suddenly you're not here anymore, and to me that's so unfair. So that in itself is a lot to grasp, and then the fact that he died while going on the road to buy bread that his grandmother sent him for, and you start to wonder what is his in terms of his parental situation, his parental unit, what is going on there. There's just so much to think about, and it's a very hard thing to accept, right? That happened, but then there was the criticisms by a lot of people who obviously could see the difference between when police officers kill people in the community and when people of the community kill people of the community. I said killing, but it could literally be just arresting somebody in the community, right? So you see them outside burning the tires and cussing and all you're wicked, and they're in the road half naked and the hair still in the bonnet because they're just so angry that they, you had no time to fix up yourself, you had no time to spruce up yourself, right? You're coming out one time to defend your people. That's fine. That happens, right? Everybody is saying, where was all of that when this young man died? Why don't these people come out and condemn their own people, right? I am not a socialist in any way, shape or form, but I do have some theories about that. From observing people. I don't belong to that kind of community, but I think I understand, and in being in very close proximity to a similar type of community, right? People in the ghetto have a very us against authority mentality, and it's even stronger than the us against us mentality that they have. So for them, surviving is an actual active effort, whereas it's passive for us. To survive and to have a good quality of life in the situation that they currently are in, totally leaving out the fact that it's difficult for food, it's difficult for jobs and all that stuff, leaving that out. Just in the climate of the community, surviving is an active effort. So a lot of them do have a fear of speaking out in terms of victimization. Just by your name being on that screen or your face being on that screen and somebody see you and, oh, you talking about so and so on. In all these communities, everybody knows who murders who, when it happens, where it happens, right? That's why there tends to be a lot of retaliation, killings. So when it is that you actually come out and you speak out against this stuff, you can literally be putting your life at risk. And I don't think it's worth adding more people to the morgue just to avenge a death, to try to understand a death, right? Especially in a situation where it's not going to get better. Whereas the person who did this, when they leave, if they die or get arrested, somebody else is going to come and take their place. Somebody else is going to come up and take their gun. That's it. So I don't think it makes sense you come out and you speak about it and then you are suddenly going to be victimized and your family will be at risk as well. Then like you wonder why it is that they do have the us against authority mentality. Before the invention of camera phones, we have no idea what these people used to be doing to law enforcement. Even now some of these stories are sketchy. Like you think about it, it's like, okay, you enter here and you see these people doing XYZ criminal activity and you shoot all of them. And it sounds more like it could be consistent with an ambush rather than you ambush the people rather than they retaliated or they attempted to retaliate. And we won't ever get the details. We don't get people who mimic crime scenes. We don't get these stories taken to court. These people don't get the benefit of the doubt ever at all. And when it is that they mention that they want to incorporate body cameras onto the police force, when it is that you have people who totally objected, you start to wonder, okay, what kind of sketchy behavior happens? So these people know that they don't have the benefit of the doubt. They don't have the benefit of innocent until proven guilty. They're guilty and they're guilty because they're from this place, right? So given those details and thinking about that, I do understand their trepidation as it comes to the issue. However, I think that they should work a little harder on moderating their levels. As in, somebody is killing somebody. Somebodies are killing somebodies. Every young boy who get killed or shot by law enforcement cannot be a good boy. It's not possible. Somebody have to be killing somebody, right? Are they good boys? Yes, they are good boys. They tend to be point blank victims, not victim, but he was in court for so and so and so, as well as so and so and so, and so and so and so, and is well known to the police. It can't happen like that, right? So you have to be speaking out for somebody. Speak out for the people who are trying to get out and uplift or glorify a community. A lot of these people who live in these places, they get total jamming, as in the uncle who helped raise them get shoot down, the cousin who they look up to get killed, the aunt had to migrate because people coming after she, or you get stabbed or shoot or beat as a child. And when it is that you actually leave the community, the name of the community stays in the background story, right? But because of the situations that you went through, you begin to feel like if you are absolved of any responsibility to uplift the community. So you're still in survival mode. So it's like, all right, I'm out. I have to get my mom out. I have to get my sister out. I have to get, you understand. So if that keeps happening, then the whole situation is going to persist, and the ghetto is always going to be a thing, and it's not fair. And back to bias, I might have a bias towards those people because they are my people, and I think that we have so much more potential, we have so much more intelligence than that, we have so much more abilities than that, so we need to do better in that situation. Well, I have to interrupt this video. This is me currently editing very late, so a lot of things happened since I actually filmed this video. One of the things that happened is that a 14-year-old was shot and killed during what is believed to be an attempted robbery of a mart. I think it's a liquor mart. And so him as well as his accomplice, both of them were killed by the store owner. And I decided to add this on to this part of the video because here I spoke about a 16-year-old who was innocently gunned down. Now we have a 14-year-old who is allegedly not innocent and gunned down, and I guess we don't know how to digest it. We just don't know how to do it because at 14 you haven't started living life as yet, you haven't found yourself as yet. So a lot of people are thinking, wow, we messed up as a society because we should be guiding this 14-year-old differently, or where the parents for this child, and a lot of people are like, well, it's a good thing he did, right? So I guess the country is pretty split in that aspect. I am split internally as well because I am really not sure. On one side, okay, I don't believe that the whole society being to blame because this child decided to go out and allegedly rob this store. Yeah, that had nothing to do with me. I don't know if you ever try to tell a Caribbean parent how to parent their child, but it don't work out at all. So there's absolutely no way to input suggestions on what to do to raise a child. No village, no reason, no child in this community, because you want to hot up your head for somebody else's child like that much, because you are made the villain as long as you have something to say about somebody else's child, and you could be totally 100% right. So yeah, no, in most situations that's not our responsibility, right? There's the other aspect of the fact that I too was 14 years old once upon a time, wasn't that long ago.
and I knew right from wrong very well. And I also knew a lot of people who could have ended up in a situation like him and chose different paths, and they did very well, and they're doing very well for themselves, and they're very much so alive and well at this point in time. And then on the, also with that, yeah, I think that even though the age of consent just happens to be 18 years old, there's absolutely nothing to completely draw a line of this is immature, this is mature, right? Because there are immature 18-year-olds and there are mature 12-year-olds. That's just how life works. So at age 14, he could know exactly what he's doing. And also, maybe at age 14, he has decided that his life path is going to be a life of crime, and he has decided this is what he's going to do, and he doesn't care about the consequences, and he is aware that one of the consequences will be death, and he's totally fine with that. And he would have gone on to be 15 years old, robbing, just probably 16, killing, 18, doing other things, 20 years old, raping, 22, same situation, and end up dead at 22, but ended up with a line of people that he's hurt, and people whose lives he had destroyed throughout that entire process of his life. So maybe cutting it short at age 14 might be a blessing to all of us. Because then the rest of people are thinking, well, at age 14 you still have time to turn your life around, and this person who had a testimony that they were doing such and such at that age. I think at that age you're able to understand very well that one of the consequences of your actions that you are currently undertaking, that you currently have the maturity to undertake, is death. So if it is that you get that consequence, then you should be, comfortable with it, because you understand that it is a possibility. Again, still sad. A loss of a life is always sad. I don't know if anybody came out trying to imply that he was a good boy in any situation, but I did see a lot of speculations about how it didn't look like if he tried to run off for the money, because when he was lying down on the floor dead, his hands were open and the money was in his hands and it wasn't crumpled or anything, so it didn't look like he snatched the money. It kind of looked staged. So I would withhold from saying anything further until further investigations are done on this topic.
Mental health in Trinidad and Tobago during Ministry of Health conference that took place about 2 weeks ago. It was stated that approximately 350,000 or 25% of Trinidad and Tobago's population suffers from mental illness, and I particularly like that it was mentioned from the perspective or the aspect of how it affects them, because honestly that's not something that I think about, in terms of that they suffer from more medical conditions and they have lower life expectancy, and you tend to not think or consider them as members of the community, except when it comes to how are they harming other members of the community. So it's something that I appreciate that they were attempting to bring awareness to, right? However, given the fact that we've had a lot of headlines in the past few weeks that show obvious signs of mental illnesses in whatever capacity, it's very important to think about what the effect on the community is. I did a video for World Mental Health Day based on mental health in the Caribbean and why I am worried about how we treat it. So you'll be able to see that video. I will link it down below, so I won't have to explain myself again, right? So the stories that I was referring to involve the murder-suicides type situation, right? And I just need to say this because I do follow a lot of pages on Facebook, and I don't speculate about crimes at all. So if you think that you're gonna watch this series and think that I'm gonna speculate and say, oh well, he was talking to so and so, that's why he killed she, and all that stuff, you're not gonna get that from me at all. I don't speculate about crimes, and I know you all speculate about it because it's entertaining, and I know you all get entertainment from murders because I see it on my timeline all the time when you have somebody on the ground dying and you're always sharing it. Oh my god, it's so sad. It's so sad. Can you stop sharing it? Can you stop sharing it? So you all get entertainment for the speculations as well. So by the way that things are going these days, you could easily be the person who is the victim of crime, or a family member of yours, somebody that you care about, right? And it's suddenly not going to be entertaining. You're suddenly going to be asking for privacy. You're suddenly going to ask for people to be respectful and to hush them out. So just extend courtesies to other people as you would like to be extended to you. That sentence made sense when you really think about it, right? Right, let's lighten this up a little bit. the Explain Your Wealth Bill, which turned into the Zesser Bill. So the politicians were politicking. I don't know, and they made a new law, I don't know, about explaining your wealth, and it might be flawed, the details of which I can't go into because I don't know much about this. This is not my world. So I'm sure there are a lot of people you can use for reference, but if you read it, it's problematic, right? Maybe I'll touch on a few reasons why it's problematic, right? But you might think, okay, at least we might get to access the people who are eating good food from money laundering, or the politicians who are corrupt and keep stealing in this country. Maybe that bill is very good. Yeah, you might have a few innocents who, get questioned where you get this money from or whatever, and that's fine because they'll be able to explain it away. But there are people who are going to be driving these huge vehicles and eating out every night in TGI. I don't know if TGIF is cool anymore. I don't know. Eating out every night, and they definitely not looking for that amount of money, and they're stealing from poor people like you and I. Yeah, they're gonna go down for it. Somewhere along the line, it ended up getting twisted to it being a Zesser bill. So, young man, where you get a gold chain from? Which I understand. I get it, right? That a lot of people who steal, I would always say, like, but ma'am, your son has no job. Yet he's bringing money for you on a daily basis, and he bought you a gold chain that looked used. What do you think he does during the day if he's such a good boy, right? A lot of these people at the day, they are obviously not working anyway, and they have a lot of stuff. They might have cars, might be the car that they steal, because they're not stupid enough to drive the car that they steal. They sell the car that they steal for parts, and they're able to buy a car from that. But they might have the gold chain and the dressing, and they can buy bottles and go on boat cruise, right? But they're criminals, so it's a good way to target them. But there are the people who just have gold chains. I was talking to somebody in my childhood days, and I swear his only aspiration was to own a gold chain. It's a very good reason why I stopped talking to him. But he was like, oh yeah, my goals, I want to reach my goals in life. I want to reach my goals. It was literally a gold chain that he wanted to buy. That's what he wanted to do, was afford a gold chain. I'm like, wow, that is amazing. So it's symbolic. It means something to people, right? So yeah, there are people who legally accumulate enough wealth, and they might go without food and water and clothes in order to buy a gold chain. And so the fact that if these people's assets are seized, it's their sole financial responsibility to free their own assets after the whole lengthy court process. Who knows how long that will go on, because it's Trinidad and Tobago and everything happens in our own Trinidad and Tobago time. That is potentially problematic. So that's one thing that I don't agree with, and just the fact that they're trying to distract us, and they use the catchy phrase Zesser, the Zesser, the real hot stepper, because it's an in thing now. It's a whole catchy phrase. So we're going from dealing with people in the mansions who thief millions of dollars to a young man who thief $20 from somebody's purse. Both of them is theft, but still. Come on, man. I really can't handle these people.
Every week, ferries unload about 1,500 Venezuelans onto this dock in Cedros. That's much heavier traffic than the tiny port is accustomed to, all because it happens to be just 7 miles from the Venezuelan coast. Of the 3.4 million people who've left Venezuela since it descended into crisis, Trinidad and Tobago has proportionally received the most, about 60,000, or more than 4% of the island country's population. But Trinidad has not given them any kind of legal status. Adults are not allowed to work, and children do not have the right to a public education. So they live underground.
I don't I don't know, but like being roasted by a man with a British accent like cut me extra deep. Like for some reason that accent, whoo, like he's make everything sound true. Like for a minute I was like going with him and like, damn, we're terrible people. But then I'm just like, no. Just because this is media propaganda and consistent with that, somebody has to be at fault. So right now we're the ones at fault. Our country can't support 60,000 new people. Our economy can't, our schools can't, our hospitals can't, our living situations can't. Right now, is it worth trying to support these people? Yes, 100%. These are human beings and these people have absolutely no choice and no other option. Why else would you come to Why else would you come to Trinidad unless it's your last resort, right? No, I'm kidding. So these people, this is their last resort, right? So at this time, I am very glad that I am nowhere close to being in government, because the government has a very difficult decision to make, and no matter what they do, they're going to be wrong. So even if they make the morally correct choice, it's going to be totally impractical. So I think we all need to remember that in our criticisms of how they deal with it. Thus far, they have the migrant framework policy, which is a 2-week period where Venezuelans, whether they have entered the country legally or illegally, can register and be allowed to work, get an ID card, and be allowed to work for 6 months. And then after that 6 months, then they will be checked and make sure that everything is good, and then they'll be able to work for another 6 months. So it's basically a year period of amnesty, right? And they have locations where they go and they register, and during this time they would undergo physical examinations, and they would be allowed to have both emergency and primary health care, as well as they might be qualified to pay taxes if it is that the job that they hold, is at that level, right? Yeah, I highly doubt that they'll have the ability to vote, which I think is a lot of people's concerns, that the PNM is doing that basically as a method of voter padding. It's like, no, that's not possible. They won't be allowed to vote. Like, get that stuff out of your brain. We're literally trying to help these people who suffered, right? We just need to be more open to the fact that we're going to have people with a whole specific group of cultures and ideals and understanding that are going to be here. And yeah, they are bad people. 2 weeks ago, 3 of them were killed because they were involved in criminal activity, and then there were 2 arrested because they would attack the police. Like they fought the police. Like their version of all the wicked is like yeah, they fought the police, right? Double G, Gary Griffith, said that if it is that anybody is suspected of being involved in criminal activity, that they should be deported, which I think they will make an amendment to the law that says that, because we obviously can't offer them amnesty, right? We have also suffered at the hands of Venezuelan pirates, to the fishermen who go about minding their own business, end up in a lot of problems with that. We have to keep that in mind as well. It's going to be a change. It is going to be a change. It is already here. Times 60,000. So it's just something that we have to adjust and adapt to.
So this is another new advancement involving the Venezuelans who are attempting to come to Trinidad and Tobago. On the 25th of April, 23 of them drowned as the boat that they were on sank. And search parties were sent out to find the remaining people or remaining bodies. And what I need to comment on is the fact that we did not treat this situation like if they were people at all in terms of the members of the public. A lot of people were saying, why are you using actual efforts to find the people or find the bodies? Just let them wash ashore like we do to a lot of people a lot of the times. A lot of people were rejoicing. I was like, well, yes, there'll be less of them. And yeah, you see that aspect of treating people like they aren't human beings. It makes all the difference in what I think about who we are as a community. So as a community, seeing that people actually believe this and that they this is what their mindset is absolutely disgusting. So it's just unfortunate that these people have to be going through this and literally risking their life to get to a better situation. They wouldn't be doing it if they had another option, wouldn't they? Like, you would risk your life if you had another option? No. So that would show or highlight the desperation of these people. So you just need to be a bit more empathetic in that regard.
Right, yeah, so I'm about to wrap. What am I looking at my watch for? Like, it doesn't matter. I'm about to wrap up. But just want to give a little shout out to the radio stations, because I am hearing an active effort to continue playing soca even after Carnival is over. And that is bravo, amazing, well done. So that's the end of this episode. Thank you all for watching. Make sure and check out my other videos and subscribe, turn on your notifications so that you know every single time that I post. Make sure and like this video, comment down below what you thought about some of the topics that I covered. What are your opinions about it? Make sure and keep it respectful. Make sure and always remain teachable, because you don't know everything, as neither do I. Like, I don't know how to make that sentence make sense. And share this video if you think it's interesting. So that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. Bye.